GM, GM. Today's lesson, I'm going to talk about being consistent when things are going well, because I've observed over the years from myself and from many traders that I've mentored and traders that I've known. So this comes from my own experience, traders who I look up to and respect that I've talked to, as well as thousands of students that I've seen. The hardest time to be consistent is actually when things are going really well. And it seems a little bit counterintuitive if it hasn't happened before, but this is what gets people during euphoria. People often wonder, like, how can we have this bull market where things go up 100x, and yet at the end of it, most people still lose? Most people still lose at the end of a bull market. How? Well, it's because when things start to go well, you get complacent. Your brain very quickly tricks itself into thinking because things are going good, they're going to keep going good. It's our tendency to expect what has happened recently to continue happening, recency bias. And so you have this disciplined process where you wait patiently for your setups, you avoid the traps of fear and greed, you diligently DCA into your spot coins, you buy dollar cost average, you accumulate, you research projects, you do all the hard work. Then you get into the peak of a bull market and all that goes out the window because you're making so much money every day doing nothing. But if you're not disciplined and consistent, you're going to take your eye off the ball and miss whenever things do turn. So it can happen like that in a bull market, but also just happens in general with your system, regardless of what market it's in. When you get onto this hot streak and you're trading well and you're having mostly winners and your portfolio is growing, it's very easy to slip back into this, I'm in tune with the market, I can see where it's going, I'm going to take this trade. I know I got my long trade and it worked out per my system, but I think it's going to go back now, so I'll take a short. And you think it's okay because you're playing with house money, because you're in profit. And it's just these little slips. And let's say you've a 10 grand portfolio and you grow it to 15 over the space of a few months. You think, I'm going to risk $1,000 on a short here. Doesn't matter, right? If I lose, I still have 14,000. It's just these little inconsistencies that start to creep in. And a lot of people aren't aware of it because it's not, contrary to what you think, it's not the scary, fearful, down-only times that are the biggest risk to your portfolio. It's actually when things are going well. The only way you can get wrecked to the downside in a bull market is if you use too much leverage. But when things are going up, going higher, you think they're never going to stop, you can take your profits from one trade and immediately roll into the next. This caught me in my first bull market. I made a bunch of money. I remember making 50K in like 3 days. And at the time, it was the most money I'd ever made trading in such a short space of time. And it was because there was basically, there was a up-only bull market where things were getting crazy and coins were going 100%, 200%, 300% in a day, some of them in a few hours. And I mistook that, right? Instead of just being very isolated where this happens maybe a few days in the whole bull market, I mistook that because I didn't have experience. I thought, I'm so great. I made this amazing trade. And I turned 10 grand into 50 grand. And then I immediately took the 50 and redeployed it into another trade. 2 trades, actually. I was like, well, that 10's gone to 50. I got these 2 coins that I've been looking at. I'm going to put the money into these coins and they're going to go 5 or 10x. And then I'm going to turn that into $500,000. And of course, it was near enough the peak of the market and they just went down from there. Bleeding down 40, 50, 60, 70%. Ended up selling out of it at basically break even because I didn't know what I was doing. I got ahead of myself. I didn't follow a plan or a process, and I didn't understand that when things are going just stupidly well and you're making stupid amounts of money in a very short space of time, that is not normal. If I had been disciplined with my process, that was where I formed one of my key rules, which is when you take a big profit, do not put that into another coin right away. Because when you get that insane profit, coins pumping 2, 3, 4, 5x in a couple of days, that's usually some kind of top. I learned that the hard way. Hopefully you can learn it for free off me. But more than that, whether it's a big pump that turns into a correction, whether it's taking your eye off the ball, skipping your rules, breaking your rules, taking trades you shouldn't, any of those things, you have to be conscious. Journal every day. Take notes of your mindset, your psychology, and the market. And remember that consistency is what's going to keep you in the game. In crypto, in a bull market, it's amazing because you can just buy stuff and wait and it will go up. But if you're not disciplined with that, if you're not consistent to be watching out for these red flags in your own psychology, you're going to end up giving a lot of money back to the market, or even worse, losing it all. Because you go from 10k to 50k, it's not as easy to go back to 10k. A lot of people blow the whole lot up, right? 10 to 50, you feel like a genius. 50 back to 25, you feel like an idiot. Even though on balance you're up, you don't feel like that. You feel like you're down 50%. And that's where your psychology can really break. Your emotions can get the better of you. And you can just say, oh, well, I'm going to risk 5k. Just get it back to 50. Then you've got 20. You risk 5k again. You've got 15. Then suddenly you're back to 10. And you think, well, I started with 10. Now I've got 10. I'll put 10 on and double it. And then boom, it's gone. These things can happen really easily if you're not aware of it. You turn into the gambling mindset. You have to avoid that at all costs. So you need to be consistent. You need to follow your processes. You need to do the same thing every day, same analysis in the morning, same journaling at night, same noting down, how do I feel emotionally? What are the feelings? Fear, greed, euphoria, anger, disappointment, whatever it is, be mindful of it. And have rules in place for how you act. If I'm feeling euphoric, I will not trade. If I'm feeling extreme fear, I will not trade. If I'm feeling fear but I'm in an open position with leverage, I will close it. Implement these rules now, because when the market gets crazy in both directions, you need to have the plan already in front of you. Take that, implement it, start to build it into a plan, and it will help.